San Francisco is struggling to fill its downtown vacancies and attracting workers back. But as our media partner, the San Francisco Standard, reports, a neighboring city just down 101 is doing just fine. Thank you very much. And that city is South San Francisco. Joining us live to take a look at why is the Standard staff reporter of the story, Sarah Wright. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Kristen. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. The headline of your story today, while SF's COVID recovery falters, South San Francisco is booming. Before we dive into the how and why it's booming, tell us a little bit about this city, which many people know from the big sign on the side of San Bruno Mountain.
Yeah, so I was actually down there last Wednesday and the streets were alive. The downtown was bustling. There were people eating in restaurants. And all I could think of was, wow, that's not what San Francisco's downtown looks like today. I was down there for a ribbon cutting event for the biotech company Amgen, which is opening a new facility in South San Francisco. And it really just felt like the city had a lot of life. So I decided to look into why.
All right, so why? I mean, it looks booming from the downtown, as you said, right? But what do you think, when you look deeper into it, is actually happening beneath the surface?
Yeah, so South San Francisco has a couple of advantages, a couple of things going for it. So first off, it is in a pretty prime location. It's got the benefit of being close to San Francisco while also being a little bit smaller. And so it benefits from that, especially during the pandemic. It's also close to major transportation hubs. It's got San Francisco Airport, it's got a bunch of BART stops, and it's kind of on the way to large institutions like Stanford. But the real reason that I uncovered was, biotechnology is the main industry in South San Francisco, and that industry didn't take as hard of a hit as regular technology did during the pandemic. So a lot of those companies decided to stay open. They needed to keep their workers in person throughout the pandemic. And today they're renewing leases and they're building new facilities because they're betting on the future of South San Francisco.
Right. And when you talk biotech, can't forget the biggest employer there, Genentech, leading biotech
Yes.
company, which we have video of. And as we show that, I want to ask you why you think biotech has turned out to be perhaps a more COVID-resistant industry for a city to have rather than, say, tech, right, which dominated San Francisco.
Yeah, so what the biotech companies told me is that, their work wasn't interrupted quite as much as the regular technology sector. They were still doing research and development during the pandemic at an even faster pace, knowing the importance of their work during something like a global pandemic. They had workers coming in person, and the industry really grew a lot over the last couple of years. And, they told me that they want to stay in South San Francisco because that's where the talent is. And that's where you have access to, people working on the tech side in San Francisco and people working on life sciences down in Silicon Valley. So uniting those two things, literally and physically in the city of South San Francisco, where there's already this big pool of talent, just makes a lot of sense.
So what benefits have South San Francisco derived from this strong industry and tax base?
So South San Francisco has a pretty strong partnership with its industries. The city charges things like development impact fees. So every time that, Genentech or any large company wants to expand its campus or build a new campus, build some labs or build housing, for example, for their workers, South San Francisco is able to capture taxes basically from that development. And those taxes go to things like parks, libraries, they go to housing development. And so the folks at the city told me that they really encourage this kind of development. And, they really want to make the things like the permitting process as easy as possible to get this stuff done.
And I guess that leads me to my last question, which is, are these unique factors you cited things that, they're lucky to have, but other cities can't really replicate? Or are there policy things that bigger, struggling cities like San Francisco can learn from and borrow?
Yeah, so there's on the first hand, just the advantage of South San Francisco not being a major city. We saw during the pandemic, big cities losing, suburbs winning. But the things that San Francisco could learn from its neighbors to the south are things like making permitting easy or trying to derive benefits from commercial building as opposed to housing building. There's also the opportunity to diversify San Francisco's sectors that are downtown. Today, we still have about 30% of San Francisco's office space is dedicated to technology. So if they were able to branch out to things like biotech even, that could prove more resilient in the future.
All right, Sarah, good reporting, good conversation. Thanks so much. And folks, you're welcome. You can check out more of the San Francisco Standard's other original reporting on their website, sfstandard.com. ABC7 will continue to bring you more segments featuring the Standard's city-focused journalism. We'll be right back.